Hey, welcome back to From the Roots Up, the podcast where we have followed Hickory FC's meteoric rise all year long, match by match, trophy by trophy, goal by goal. Before we get started, of course, I've got to thank our partners that allow us to be here and do this, and that is, of course, our man Lenny behind the camera, Chris Vondrell at Vondrell Media, Jay Brown for allowing us to be here as well, and Jeremy at Barley Market. But we've got a very, very big, I would think, episode today.
Yeah, today we've got a very special guest. I mean, they're all special guests, but this is one absolutely every Hickory FC fan should know. One of the most electric players to put on the shirt, as evidenced by the fact he is our South Region Player of the Year and 2025 NPSL Golden Ball Player of the Year. And what we talked, professional contract number 5 for Hickory FC, but again, I'll leave the introduction to my man Gavin here.
Yeah, so without further ado, it's my pleasure, as it is every time we have a guest on here, to introduce the Golden Boy himself, Mr. Antonio Pineda. Thank you for joining us today. It's great to have you with us.
I appreciate you guys for having me. Finally getting it done. So.
I know it's been I wouldn't say a chore, but we've been working at this for a while, and I think we waited until your season with the Corps was done to do this. But man, it's great to finally have you here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Well, let's start off. Of course, we've got to talk about the magical season with Hickory FC. So let's start there if we can. And this is something we kind of ask everybody is because we're interested in knowing how the opportunity with Hickory came to pass. So how did that opportunity present itself to you?
Yeah, not a lot of people know this. I think only a few know how I really got here. Basically, my brother was my agent, put it in short words. So obviously I ended my season with Richmond. I wasn't looking to continue playing professionally anymore. Really lost the love for the game there. Just wasn't a place for me to be there. And started playing pickup with adult league soccer at Mazeppa in Statesville. Really found the love for it again, was enjoying it. Obviously the level's not great there, but really enjoyed scoring goals and making them look silly. And my brother reached out to Hickory FC, Jonathan. He reached out to him, sent him an email without me knowing. I had no idea. Saying, I want to join, wanted to play, what do I need to do to be there? And I get a call from Carlos. He's like, hey, Tony, see you sent an email. Happy for you to be here. And I'm like, an email? Hickory FC? I was like, Hickory FC. And my brother was right beside me, and he's like, yeah, answer it, take it. So Carlos gave me the call, said, we're going to take a look, see some of your highlights, and I'll let you know in a couple of days. And I was like, all right, maybe, it's just a summer thing. I didn't think much of it. So he gave me a call in a couple of days, like, love to have you. And I was like, all right, let's just do it. It's a summer thing only, not looking much for it. Just have fun again. And that's how I got here.
Dang. That's crazy. I love the fact that your brother did that, like, behind your back. That's kind of like a classic, like movie feeling, It's like they sent in. But I don't know what's better, that or the fact that, like, it was, like, super old school. Because I feel like a lot of the guys we talk to now, they're always like, oh, we DM'd or texted. But, like, you guys are keeping it OG with the emailing there, which is super cool. So kind of to piggyback off that, so you get this opportunity. And, I mean, everyone always wants to go into the season with these high expectations, but having gotten this email back now, and it's like, all right, I've got a place on the team. What are your, I don't want to say like what are your expectations, but like what are you expecting out of it? It sounds like you're kind of going in with this really just positive attitude of let's just have fun with it, and obviously seems to have worked out really well. But going into the year, like, what were you thinking? What were you expecting? I'm sure you weren't expecting a golden ball out of this, but like, what were your expectations going into the season?
Yeah. So coming into the season, obviously, there's some players that are coming back. You're the new guy on the block. Mm-hmm. You have to get used to everybody. So for me, I've always been a humble person, a positive person. Whether I was playing or not, I was like, I'll give it a chance. Wasn't really thinking much past that, but I remember there was a set of questions that came out from Jonathan, answered these, and one of them was, well, what are you expecting to get out of this? Obviously, your goal is to win the whole thing. I think every player, every season wants to win the championship. But I told him this could be a stepping stone to really go back to a professional for me. So my goal was to try to make it back to the professional level, back to the professional ranks. But it was just that was a bonus for me. I just really wanted to enjoy my time here and have fun with the sport again because I had lost it and I found it again. So I thought this was really important for me just to enjoy playing it, just falling in love with it again. And if I did that, then I saw myself reaching the next level again.
Yeah, no, I love that. And as a kind of preface, like we talk about these questions a little bit beforehand, but I did not know that answer, and I love that story. It's like, it seems super cheesy, but like I think everyone should take this as like a, take every opportunity, even when things feel like down and out and you're just like ready to let it go, not only do you always take that opportunity and push yourself, but go in with that positive mindset and just really give it your all, and it's just super cool to hear that and how it all worked out, like you went from like getting ready to give up on it all to professional contract. So I love that. That's super awesome to hear.
Yeah, so if we can look back as far as your memories of this season, because I mean, it's awesome that you're a professional now. You've got that contract with the Corps, so you'll be there next year. So I mean, really, just one season in Hickory, an amazing season. What are some of your best memories, most cherished memories, if you will?
Yeah, I think the first one that comes to mind was obviously the first preseason game against Mint Hill. I get it's preseason, but I didn't score in the professional ranks prior to then. So I think I scored within like 3 minutes into the game, and it just made me happy because I was like, wow, like, okay, I still got it. I'm still able to do this. And it really set the tone for me for that season that I can still score goals. I can still create chances. So I think that first moment, and obviously we had a good crowd out, it was just like, this feels good. I think I can do this for a whole season, and I set the tone for me personally and the goals I wanted to reach. So that moment, obviously winning the 3 championships that we got to hold, beating App 3 times in a row, it's always great. So you can't go wrong with that. And obviously winning the national final, I think that's the biggest one. Not only for me, but for the whole players, the whole staff, the whole city of Hickory. It's actually great. So I think that game was incredible. Just what we went through to get there and have to win there was a big moment for us. So
it's interesting you mentioned the Mint Hill game, and I remember going to that game and watching it, thinking, man, we've got a whole new squad. I don't know how this is going to go. Thinking, man, this season's going to be tough, and very quickly was gone, and it's like, all right, we're going to be all right this year. We're going to be good. I remember seeing you, and I know I've said this to multiple people, like seeing the players we had, how technical you guys were, how fast you guys were. It was like, all right, we're good. No worries. And thankfully it ended up, going all the way to the final. But that first game against Mint Hill was, it definitely was something. Even though it was a preseason game, it was like, man, this is okay. We're good.
Now, remind me, Gavin is the statistics guy for us for sure. Did you start that Mint Hill game, or you?
I did.
Now I'm kind of curious, having been this new guy on the team, like, were you expecting to start? Did that come on those like practices? They just kind of saw something in you, or like, because that's huge. I mean, we had a really good first year to be able to step in as a guy who's just playing rec league. Next thing you know, you're starting for Hickory FC. Like, how did that all come about?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting to start. Coming to a new team, I figured some of the players who were there prior would get the start, but Carlos put me in the spot, and I mean, I didn't look back at it, and obviously, whatever I got, if it was a couple minutes, if I was just there to try to make an impact, and I really try to get a spot on the team, really prove that I deserve to be here, I deserve to play. Luckily, I got the opportunity right off the bat, and he believed in me with that. So I think it all came together in the first game, and saw the potential and just kept believing in me throughout the season. So that goal just really relieved a lot of pressure that I had beforehand. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I love that you like brought up the fact he's like, I was just casually whooping on some regular dudes out in Statesville, and then came in, stepped on the pitch, and immediately started crushing it. And I love to hear that Rubio had that trust in you, and we always talk about how like his intuition to like, whether it's pick players, make subs. We were talking to Harry about how all 3 subs in the national championship were the deciding factor. maybe I'll dub it now, but in Rubio we trust, like he's got that intuition. But I love that he had that trust in you, and you took advantage of it and stepped on it, which is cool, and ultimately led to you winning the NPSL Golden Ball of the Year. So kind of to piggyback into that, I'm kind of curious. When we had Guille, one of the players at LR on the podcast, he was funny. We were laughing how the way he found out was his buddy sent him the Instagram post of him being on the team of the year, and he was like, "Oh, didn't even realize this was a thing." So, how did you find out about winning the award, and kind of what were your thoughts at the time?
Winning the award was the same thing. I remember I got tagged on Instagram. Didn't really know what was going on about it. I was just
You'd
like,
think there'd be like a more formal process to doing this, like a letter in the mail or something, but everyone's just getting tagged on Instagram right now.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. I got tagged. I mean, I knew I was up for nomination. Because I guess whoever wins the MVP of your conference is automatically nominated for that. And they had made a video for me, but I didn't really think much of it. I was just, okay, like I have an opportunity for it. But my head was just the next game, what's going on, where are we at, what can we achieve? And yeah, I got a tag, and I saw it was Golden Player of the Year. I really didn't expect it. Obviously, there was a lot of great players in others conferences, especially with more goals than me, more contributions in that aspect. So it was the last thing I expected, but yeah, that's how I found out. I found out on a tag, went to it, and it said Player of the Year, so I was like, oh, I'll take it.
He's like, oh.
What a way to find out that you won a great award for the season. That's insane. But I like to know, as we look back on the season and how magical and awesome it was, you might – is there a point in the season that you could point to that you thought like, man – this is something. This could turn into something special, or we're headed in a direction that could end with silverware. Is there a moment you can point to that you're like, man, this is turning into something?
Yeah, I would say the App State game, the first one. It was difficult game. Obviously playing at App, it gets a little rowdy there, and I think that's the first time we've really gone to battle throughout the season. I think it was physical. They were playing hard. We were playing hard. And just to come out of there, 83rd minute, there was a goal. And to come out with a win, really, really being, up against it all night, really set the tone for us throughout the season. And I figured, we got something special. We got something brewing here. We can definitely compete in tough moments. It would just have to go throughout the season and see what happens. And I think there was one marking point for us throughout the season where we tied Bristol away. I don't think anybody expected that, I think we were all like, okay, well, what just happened? But I think that moment, if it wasn't for that, we probably don't go win a national championship. I think that really, it's like, okay, we're not good. We're in a position where we've done fine all season, but we can't get comfortable. So that set us up for the rest of the playoffs, because we went straight into playoffs after that, and that set the tone for us, I think, saying we just tied Bristol. Probably bottom table team, we shouldn't be doing this. Well, what happened? For us, that opened our eyes and said, okay, so every game's a battle now. So from here on out, I think that game really, really set us in. We didn't shy away from it. We came together and we grew from that. So.
And those two saves, and we were there for the Bristol match, and I think we both agreed Mickey made two, obviously special saves that really kind of saved that game. And I guess, I don't want to say exaggerate or whatever, but it really kind of like saved the season and your position in the table. But if you could, and I can't really remember, but who scored both goals against App to beat them both away and home? I think I remember correctly, but
that would be me.
Yeah.
That would be me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. We love talking about those App games. Every single one of them was special, and there's so many things you can kind of nitpick about it. First off, arguably one of the top teams in the nation for sure, as evidenced by the fact that we struggled with them so much, but a huge rivalry game. But the other thing I was kind of just thinking about now is retrospectively, you don't realize how important those games were. One of the biggest things for us in the playoffs was seeding. Having every single game except the championship at home is huge. Not saying that I don't think you guys are the best team in the nation, but if you're forced to make those trips away, it's huge. Yeah. So even though there were scrappy 1-0 wins, that's what put us in the seeding and put us in contention. So kind of moving on that kind of curious, personally, I'm sure the fans are curious too, luckily most of our playoff games are at home, but obviously the big championship game is across the country. Now, when you compare to the regular season where we're essentially all playing in state, that's a huge difference. So how did that compare, like from the regular season games where you're probably busing home that same night? How does, whether it's like preparation or mentality versus, I think, possibly as far away as you could get outside of like a game in Alaska or something. So how does that all compare?
Yeah, I think obviously traveling for any game is difficult. Whether it's bus, whether it's plane, it's still difficult to come out and execute. You're not stretching the whole time. Your legs aren't free. You're crammed in a little space. So it's difficult to get the job done. It definitely weighs on you. But I think, the owners and everybody involved with Hickory traveling to San Francisco did a good job with that. They got us extra days early there, so we could be well rested. We could be prepared for the match. And yeah, I think we showed up 2 or 3 days before the match, and it really helped us settle in, get comfortable, be relaxed. And yeah, preparation, we were able to train there, which is huge. A day before, you don't really get that kind of time, especially if you're traveling on a bus. You're going straight to the game and coming straight back. You're going heavy leg. So the fact that we were able to get some rest, 2 days rest before playing the national final was huge for us. I think that really helped us be more comfortable for it. So
yeah. Now I can't imagine that's possible for every game, but kind of the way you're describing it, it sounds like that was almost kind of a nicer preparation than those regular season games. Like you said, you guys get in those buses, hop off, and you're immediately getting ready to go, right? And yeah. I can't imagine. I'm sure you guys have a lot of fun on those 3-hour bus rides, but I can't imagine you're ready to start ripping it when you get off the bus. So talk about that. Like, what is it like? Do you have like a protocol you go through, or like you step off the bus, and what does Antonio do?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously on the bus I try to take a little nap because it's all a long drive, and I think I get the energy from taking a little nap. But once I get off the bus, I'm never I don't put headphones on. I'm never a type of person like I listen to music, whatever they're playing in the locker room. But I try to enjoy the time with the teammates.
Mm-hmm.
You only get so much of that time with them, so I try to do that. But first thing I do, get my stuff there, and I go walk the pitch. I walk the pitch, and for me, I envision myself scoring goals. Look at both sides of the net, how I'm gonna score, how I'm gonna get the job done, because I think that's important. I think that really plays a factor not only in you believing that you're gonna score, but you're seeing how you're gonna score. It plays out through the game, so. That's what I tend to do. Obviously, I get back, and I get ready. I do my wrist tape. That's my style. Always a wrist tape, or just my swagger, I guess, that I've done my whole life. So I do that. I prepare that. Write my message on my wrist, which I'm a believer of God. So I think He's the one that carries me throughout every game. So I always put the cross, and there's only one way, and a Bible verse. That's John 13:7, which kind of correlates with how I'm here today. It stands for that you may not know what I'm doing with you now, but later you understand. So it's funny how things work in life, and that Bible verse literally been with me since my first injury till now. So I think that's my routine, and always a little prayer before the game starts.
So, I mean, and we can piggyback as far as what you think contributes to your success, and I think that's a big part of that. But what do you think? Is it preparation, teammates, confidence, belief, your faith that has helped you with your individual success?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the options you just named play a factor, one way or another. First one, obviously, is my belief. I think God gave me the talent to be able to do that, and I give it all glory to Him. Everything I do is for Him, and He gives me the ability to do that. And then second, for me, the biggest is confidence. If you don't have confidence in yourself, then you're not going to succeed on the pitch. You got to believe that you're going to make something happen. You got to believe that you're going to score the opportunity that you get. And confidence is the biggest thing. And I always go with the confidence. It's never cocky. It's just belief in myself that I can get the job done. And obviously my teammates, they play a factor. They set me up for the opportunities. Without them, I wouldn't be able to get in the position I am, score goals, or be able to assist them finishing the goal. So. And yeah, coaching staff. tactics, whatever it is, they have the belief in you as well to get it done, and they help us prepare for the game as well. So everything plays a factor.
Yeah. I think it worked out this year.
Yeah. Everyone was like, write that down. What do I got to do to get there? Now you mentioned the teammates, and we always harp on the fact that, it sounds like you guys all had great relationship. Like, it was just so fun watching you guys. We just felt like, I don't know if you guys know, like, that SpongeBob meme where Squidward's on the window watching them have fun.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how we all felt. Not as distant, but like you guys just looked like you were having such a good time, and I'm sure that's a huge part of the success. But it's so interesting to hear about like the individual relationships, like somebody personal that motivates you, or whether it's somebody like Mickey talking about, like the experience when he wasn't starting and who pushed him. So is there anyone that kind of motivated you or pushed you, or any people or groups of people that kind of motivated you and pushed you?
Yeah. Well, the first away trip, we went to Charlotte. I sat beside Ronan, actually. He was with me. It was a great conversation. We got to know each other a little bit more, because I think he had joined late, so we didn't really get time to connect like that. And we just chatting like, oh, we'll see who gets the first goal, like blah, blah, blah. Obviously, he ended up scoring that game, the very first goal of the season, actually. He ended up scoring, and then I guess a little motivation, because we were going back and forth like, okay, I'm beating you in goals right now, and I don't even play up top. So it's a little rivalry that started there, and it was like I think I scored 2 games later, and I was like, all right, we're tied 1-1, here we go. And it was just back and forth, and then obviously I started taking off, so I brought it a little to his face. But it was great because I think it kept us pushing to not just to score goals, not just to assist, but like keep making an impact, keep getting better every day, who'll come out on top, and it pushed us a little rivalry there. But also late addition G, I ended up rooming with him at the away trips and at the hotel, and we really connected. He's my guy. At first, I didn't know. I was like, who's this guy? It's just some big guy. Yeah. Like, okay, we got a center back. All right. And I remember the first training he was there, he was just banging in goals. And I was like, who is this guy? But we shared a special relationship there, too. That's my guy for sure. And that was more of a funny jokester relationship with him. And obviously, we both had the same mindset to win the whole thing. He came in with that, and we shared that as well. So that relationships for those 2 players were great.
I remember, and you mentioned seeing him for the first time. I remember seeing the training photos of him, and I was like, who is this dude? My goodness, he's 10 feet tall. Yeah. It was awesome. And we can tell, in all the photos and videos that you guys you love to be around each other. And I think that, and we would both agree and have said that's got to be a major role in the success you guys have had. But given this season with Hickory, I think it was, and you already having experience in the professional ranks before, I think with the season you had, the awards and everything, it was only natural for maybe another club to come calling for your services, and they did that. So I guess the question is, how did do you want to tell who you play for? I'm sure people know, but I don't want to do that and let you, because you play for them.
I play for Carolina Core, who's in the MLS Next Pro, based out of High Point, North Carolina.
Okay, so how did that opportunity, ask you the same thing about the Hickory FC opportunity? How did that get dropped in your lap?
Yeah, so I had a coaching staff from Carolina Core reach out to me a little late towards the end of the season.
Via email?
No, via text message. He texted me, just asking me how I was doing, the basic, like how I was, telling me that he was from Carolina Core. I was like, okay, didn't really see that coming. And then obviously my college coach texted me that it would be coming, so I was like, okay, cool. Didn't really think much of it, just checking in on me. And then he came to a game. I think it was the Ristosi game. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. He had left, but he was supporting throughout the season and things like that. So I would say late end of the season, I knew there was an opportunity to go back pro, because he had reached out to me, and I had 2 other teams that were interested. Only one other one reached out to me, which was Charlotte Independence. So I was, the day of the airport, I talked to both. Charlotte Independence traveling to San Francisco was Charlotte Independence and Carolina Core. So that's how that kind of came about, and obviously I felt more comfortable with Carolina Core and took that option. But
that's awesome. So if you're keeping tabs at home and you're keeping a tally of how many former Hickory FC players we have now in a professional league, I think it stands at 5, if I'm not mistaken. And Max wanted me to name them all, and I can name them.
We were trying to go through it before, and again, stats guy here, he got it.
On camera, it's like, oh God, so we've got Yvonne, we've got Jacoby, we've got Roger, we've got Charlie, and we've got our golden boy Antonio. So that's 5 former Hickory FC players that are now professionals.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy to think. First off, it's their second year. We've already produced 5 professional players, and it just makes you think like what a good opportunity we have going here, which is super cool. So I'm kind of curious from like your perspective, like seeing all these players becoming like signing these professional contracts. Like, does that like at what point do we start saying like Hickory FC is becoming a stepping stone? Like, does it become enticing for players? Like, I mean, having been professional before, do you see those teams that are like churning out professional players, and do they start kind of gravitating toward it? And kind of tell me about that side of things.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for any player, that thinks they can make that next step or wants to make that next step. Obviously, Hickory, you're a national champion. You have eyes on you, so you're getting more people to look at you. I think that's good for the club, and definitely good for players trying to make it pro coming out of here. Obviously, it's difficult. It's difficult to make the team. It's difficult to play for the team. Mm-hmm. So that aspect makes it a little more tricky. But just the league in general, the NPSL, I think it's a good opportunity to make it back to the pro levels, or to make it to the pro levels if it's your first time. I didn't see that way. I won't lie. I didn't see that way when I first got here. I was just, it's NPSL. It's just a summer league. Like, who pays attention to it, right? Mm-hmm. That was my initial thought, and clearly a lot of people pay attention to it. So, yeah, it's definitely exciting for the club, and who knows? Maybe in a couple of years they'll go pro. I mean, if you're winning national championship NPSL, why not move up the ranks?
Yeah,
and I think it's very possible for Hickory, and not just because of that, they got the fan base for it, they got the community for it. They definitely are able to make that jump as well.
Yeah, no, we've talked about it several times. Whether you're looking strictly at attendance numbers, like they've got good sponsorships, they've got good community sports, we've got great coaching staff. It seems like we've got all the pieces, and like what a good, perfect little community, and what a way to put them more and more on the map. So I love that. But I'm kind of curious, like, what about Hickory is it that do you think is making it such a good like part of the pipeline to professional? Is it like, and I mean, it may be a boring answer. Is it just strictly the success, or are there other aspects to it, whether it's like the coaching ties or something about the community? Like what, because again, 5 professional players in our first 2 years is crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah.
So like, is there any aspect in particular, or is it just like we've been kicking butt and taking names and that's how it worked?
I think a lot has to do with the level you bring in as well. Each training session you're getting better. You're playing with a good group of guys that know how to play soccer, a good level of it. It's not just mediocre guys that are just here for a summer and just want to play a couple minutes and all right, see ya. The level here is competitive. Every training session is competitive. Everybody's trying to earn a spot on the team. So I think that starts off with that, and then obviously the coaching staff. They do everything possible to win games, and the more you win games, the more you get recognized. Right. So the success obviously helps to reach the professionals ranks, and the fan base. I think the connection you have with the community here, the fan base here is incredible. They push you to play every game even harder than the last. So I think that's a big impact. I mean, at least with me, I felt energized to step on that field every time I got to play home. I felt excited. I felt that I wanted to prove something, and that definitely makes you a better player as well. So I think all those combined just help you push players to that next level.
I think your fears of the NPSL not being looked at were kind of taken care of with 6,200 people showing up for a match. You're like, okay, well, this is paid attention to now, which is cool. And I think you already mentioned it as far as when the opportunity came. Like, was it after the season? Was it mid-season, in season? And with your in-season form, it was during the season people were taking notice. But what was the signing process like that process itself?
Yeah, so obviously – basically in playoffs when I really started I got the contract from Carolina Core. It wasn't exactly The original one, what I wanted. So I sent back, talked things out, see if it was possible, and I got what I wanted, but I was focused on the national championship. So I told him I don't want to sign right now. We'll talk after the national championship. I'll promise you I'll sign the paperwork. Just let me focus on this and let me get the job done. And they were okay with it. They let me play through it. I just wanted my focus to be on the national championship, but we won. And I remember I signed the contract back to him officially at the airport going back to Charlotte. So
he's like, hold up, wait, we gotta do something real quick. All right, I'm a pro now.
Yeah, make sure I signed it. I just wanted to make sure I got that job done and didn't leave without winning it all. So I wanted my focus to be on that, but the process, that's what it was. I got the first contract they sent me, revised it, came to an agreement, and obviously sent it back after the national championship. So
yeah, I love to hear these stories. It's super cool. Like I've mentioned to you and the other guys, as fans, I mean, we try to be involved and we like being involved, but so much of it is just like Gavin says, these new guys just show up at the beginning of the year and then we see some of them sign and then they're gone. We don't see a lot of the behind the scenes and nuances, but you guys all have really cool and interesting stories. And I mean, I'm sure I speak for a lot of us that say we're all rooting for you. We want you to do good. So I love to hear about this. I hope other people do too. So I'm kind of curious, kind of having made that next step, how has the transition been? I'm sure the intensity, the level of play is higher, but are there any other aspects, training, preparation, fans? What are some of the differences or similarities between the two?
Yeah, well, similar to Hickory, we get a good fan base. Hickory probably has a couple more thousand fans. But, we're bringing in 4,000 fans a game at Carolina Court. So you definitely feel the same atmosphere that I felt here at a Hickory. Training is intense, pretty similar to Hickory. My biggest thing is the pace of the play. It's a lot faster. The game's a lot faster, and you're expected a lot more. At that level, obviously, it's professional. Here at Hickory, you're expected a lot, but you're also here to have a good time. You're getting paid now at Carolina Core to get the job done, so the demand's higher, and I wouldn't say it's too crazy of a difference, but it's definitely more demanding. You're expected to win. Obviously, it's harder. Every game's harder. You're playing against players that in that league are going to the MLS. They're sending players to the MLS, so a lot of young talent, a lot of young ballers. So definitely a lot more difficult to play in for sure, but it's good. I think this prepares you, sets you up for an opportunity to play at that next level. So I wouldn't say it's a lot different. Each got its qualities, and here it's a better fan base for sure. But
So you go from winning a national championship to another playoff push in the same year. What is that experience like? And I don't know if you want to compare the NPSL playoffs versus the MLS Next playoffs, but what was it like going from a national championship to a professional playoff push? What was that like?
Yeah, so that was my second professional playoffs I made with Richmond, but different feeling because I started this playoff match, and it was my first professional playoff match that I was starting. So it was crazy because we actually lost 5-1. So unfortunately, we got not a good look, but it was definitely a good feeling, knowing that I could start in a professional playoff matches. It was a great feeling. Not the result we wanted, but everything at stake was a little bigger. Obviously, both teams are playing to win, and it doesn't matter what you did in the regular season. Everybody has the same shot, and obviously that was the goal. But compared to the Hickory games, we were home. We were away for that one. We went and played in New York against Red Bulls. Obviously, that plays a factor. So, I mean, playing at home here at Hickory, every match was great. You always felt like you were going to win just walking out onto the pitch. Playing at a difficult place like Red Bulls, who's the number one team in our conference, was difficult and a lot to ask for. And it was definitely capable, but it just makes it that little bit harder when you don't have your fans there, you don't have people supporting you. So, yeah, I think it's just as intense. It doesn't matter what level it is. To get a national championship under your belt is just as hard at any level. So I'd say both was hard to get to. So.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about because just before we were talking about kind of the off season and how much time he has, but now kind of listening to Gavin ask the question and listening to you answering here, I'm just imagining like, man, the last like 3 months of your life must have been so hectic. Just like this crazy season with Hickory that's just like culminating in these like wild playoffs where we're like, I thought we were kicking butt. I mean, we were. And then, like, the crowds are getting bigger. We're making it to the championship. And then, boom, immediately onto a professional contract where you're making a playoff push, playing in the playoffs. That must be exhausting. Like, do you feel like you're just like, man, I need a break, I need a breather? Or are you like, I'm ready for more? Like, how was all that like? Like, it must have been a lot, you know?
Yeah, obviously it's a 10-month season at the professional level. I experienced that with Richmond. Unfortunately, I was injured for about total of like 20 weeks, I think. So it was definitely something I knew. But after going, I was at the highest of highs, winning a national championship. Everything felt great. Going into straight to a new team, new players, new coaching staff, new system that transition was a little difficult. Only because you can't just jump into a team and do exactly what I just did after winning a national with Hickory. So with that, definitely a lot of learning moments and trying to adjust quickly is difficult. I wish I could have got like a week to celebrate, enjoy a time off, but at the same time, the opportunity presented itself and I didn't want to look back at it. I wanted to take it head on and that's exactly what I did. So every day I was learning, trying to get into it and that happened. So yeah, it's definitely hectic, but I'm grateful for the opportunity and obviously I didn't look back at it either. So yeah.
If we can take it back to Hickory for a second, because I know you've made an impact on the club and the fans, and from hearing you talk, it sounds like the club has made an impact on you as well. So how important do you think clubs like Hickory are to giving young players an opportunity?
No, I think it's great. I think if you can bring in younger players, it's just getting the experience. They're having the opportunity to play with guys that will go pro. I think it's solidifying itself as a place that players can go pro from. So you bring in young talent, it doesn't matter if they play or not. Obviously they want to play, you want to get out there, but it's obviously a difficult place it's a difficult team to play for, and a lot of talent here. So the fact that they're just able to learn from older guys, learn from players that might be making that jump and getting to train with them every day, you get better. And I think it's a great opportunity for young players to not just play the game, but also learn from those older guys that have been there. Some guys have already been pro and have been there. You learn from that, and that's what I do. When you're first trying to become a professional, you take every tip you can from the coaches. You take every advice from the older guys that have been there a couple of years that have done the job. So I think it's a great opportunity just to soak up every training session, soak up what people tell you, and just learn from it.
I think that we've talked about it before. Like in 2 years' time, the level of the quality that Hickory has now and is developing. I don't know the stats, or I don't know in particular, but it would seem like Hickory's got more talent than anybody else and is developing that talent for sure.
Yeah, no, we always talk about it, but it's so interesting to see how it's kind of like a positive feedback, like all aspects of it, Rubio's recruiting great players. The players are pushing each other off the field. The fans are bringing it because they see the success, but then the fans encourage the player. Like everything just pushes itself into being like more and more successful, and it's so fun to watch and see it just continue to grow. And we love to be a part of it. And I'm sure everyone loves to be a part of it and watch it continue to grow. But kind of going forward, we'll keep watching it grow, but I'm kind of curious, looking back on this season, whether it's 5 years down the line, what are you going to kind of look back on in the season? Is it a moment? Is it the players? Like, what are you going to remember about this season?
Yeah, what I remember, it's always a friendship, That's what you always lead with. Doesn't matter what happens on the pitch, if you win or lose. You always remember the friendship you make throughout the season and those memories you make with the guys. And I'm always going to hold that in my heart with those guys and the coaching staff as well, just because I can say that they brought me back to life with going back to professional. Those guys believed in me and just gives me confidence. And forever grateful for this club. Everything it gave me, the opportunity I was able to play here. And, we made history. Obviously, you can't ever walk away saying, all right, we're national championship winners. Cool. You got the job done. That's not you remember, though. Obviously, you don't forget it, but it's not what you ultimately leave with. So, yeah, definitely the friendship and, not just the players, but the coaching staff as well.
I'm glad that you mentioned you made history here because you did. And all you guys are now Hickory FC legends forevermore. You're part of the lore that is Hickory FC and the stuff that we chronicle here on the podcast. But what is next for, obviously, playing for the core next season, but what's next for Antonio? What goals do you have at the core and beyond, like long-term goals?
Yeah, at the core next year, hopefully, the goal is to come top 4 so we can host a playoff game and maybe not have to make the travel. Obviously, you want to win it all, but I think that's a good goal to be hosting a playoff game at that level is big. And obviously contributing with goals and assists. I have yet to officially score a professional goal, so hopefully I can get that next year. I got one, but it was counted as an own goal, so I take it in my books, but, it didn't officially go down. So obviously make an impact that way, and, you want to take it to the highest level. I want to try to at least reach the MLS if possible. That's my goal. I'd love to play in the MLS. Obviously, if there's a bigger club, then great. But, yeah, I want to take it as far as I can, and obviously, not just that. It's not just about making it as high. Also, kids growing up, the kids you meet at the field, you want to make an impact in their lives as well. So I think every opportunity I can to talk to kids, whatever I can, I try to make an impact there as well. So.
Yeah, and like I said, this is what we love about this is first off, I think everyone's got a unique story and everyone's got an interesting story to tell. We just got to be here to sit and hear about it. So I love doing just that. And I knew nothing about his story before literally sitting here and talking to him. So this is all just like raw reaction. I love hearing about, ready to call it, being done, brother behind the scenes emailing, and then just literally sparking a brand new life to his career, which is crazy. It's incredible to hear. So to kind of put it all into perspective, for the other guys in the NPSL or college, what advice do you have for them if they're, stuck in a rut getting ready to throw in the towel?
Yeah, the advice I could say is never give up. It sounds a little bit cliche, but you can't give up on your dream. It was still part of me, I still wanted to keep playing pro. It's not something I wanted to give up, and giving that up was hard for me. Just always believe there's an opportunity out there that's better than your last. And obviously the advice I give is just keep working, and something will open up. Don't shut the door just yet, because you never know. And that's what I did with Hickory. I didn't really want to come here. I won't lie. I was why did my brother put me up to this? Why do I got to do this? Do I want to? I was still 50-50 about it. I was like why? But at the end of the day, I'm thankful for him for doing that. He didn't want me to give it up, and he's the one who told me you shouldn't have quit. You're too good. And like I said, scoring that first goal definitely made me believe in myself and took a lot of pressure off that I had coming into that season. So yeah, you just got to keep working on it, because the grass is always greener on the other side. So don't let one moment affect you.
Well, we are very thankful your brother did send the email, because I think we would agree, and everybody out there would agree, that you are too good to throw in the towel and stop playing. There was something you mentioned about it just lost me about hearing the stories. Hearing stories, and I think that's why we wanted to do this, is because every player, coach has a story, and we want to hear those stories. We want to hear what brought you to Hickory, and we want to hear stuff like that, because I didn't even know your story, which you would think somebody like me would know, but it's amazing to hear your story. And everybody's stories. So with that, I think from the Golden Ball and the South Region Player of the Year, you've got some amazing individual accolades, and then you're to signing your second pro deal. I mean, it has been the year of Antonio, and which has been amazing. And you've certainly been a great asset to not only the club but to the community as a whole. I know as the fans love you, the club loves you, and I really, and I know we mentioned it earlier about trying to work on getting you here and doing this, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come do that today, because it's been a great hour, however long this has been. It's been great to be able to talk to you and hear your story.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate having you, and seriously, we kind of brief him on some of the questions before, but we didn't hear any of his answers before, so I love that we do it that way, because we do genuinely love hearing your stories. So we appreciate your time. We got a busy professional player here, but he's willing to take time in his off season after this hectic 2 playoff run. So, and I'm sure the fans will also appreciate hearing your story too. And like I said before, I know I'll be, I'm sure Gavin will be, and I'm sure most of the fans will be. We'll all be cheering for you at Carolina Core, and hopefully in those any bye weeks or away weeks, we'll see you in the stands with us at Hickory FC. And yeah, we're excited to see what you do.
Yeah, I don't know who we need to talk to about next year, but we need to have a Hickory FC night at the Core.
Oh yeah,
to come cheer you on. But I think that's all we've got with our Golden Boy. Again, really appreciate you being here. Of course, I got to thank the folks that really allow us to put this on, and that's Lenny, Chris, Jay, Jeremy. We couldn't do this. I got to thank Max too. Couldn't do this without everybody. Couldn't do this without players agreeing to do this and wanting to be here. So I do really appreciate it. Again, where we chronicle Hickory FC match by match, trophy by trophy. And with that, we'll see you next time. Up the trees.
Up the trees.